Welcome you lovely lot. We are here today on behalf of Revolution's Baits. My name is Adam Shilton from ASFishingTV and also from Revolution, and with me I have Jason Cunningham from Revolution. So Jason is one of the experts here at this venue, or so I'm told. We'll find out in the fishing. We are at the fabulous Baden Hall Fisheries. I've never been here before. I'm kind of in the hands of the expert here in terms of what works and what doesn't, but we're expecting something a bit different for me, definitely today. Instead of all of the carp crushing that you see all the time in the matches at iFish, we are on for hopefully maybe £70 of silvers today.
Well, you need £100 to win most matches on here, so with two of us pleasure fishing basically.
We're going to do it. I think over £100 of fish without an issue, he's telling me. Hopefully. We'll see what happens with that today. So I'm really looking forward to it, and obviously we'll take you along the ride. You'll get to see what stuff we're using. A bit of a mixture actually today. We've got some Revolution products, but we've also got quite a lot of natural baits with it being silvers. And we'll take you on that journey. So we're going to start off with the ground bait basically. We'll get into rigs and stuff like that, you know, further in the video. So the damage apparently, from what you tell me, is this stuff. Okay.
Skimmer and bream dark.
Skimmer and bream dark, what we do from Revolution Baits here. I'll show it to this little camera, but we'll pop something in there. So this apparently is the stuff, okay? I'm looking forward to this. What's your experience been with this on here?
I've not been using it that long, but my recent results have been quite good with it. I've been here, I fished, the last two matches I've been here, I've had £106 and I've had £71 of silvers. But I've also been using it on some of the canal matches I've been fishing. And I've been catching some good skimmers and bream on some of the canals where it's allowed, because some of our local canal matches don't allow fish meal. Yeah. So obviously we can do that in here. And it's fine here.
Yeah, and it's such a great product. So I had a play with this just a couple of days ago filming at Baden Hall Fisheries. So it was quite nice to have a little play with it there before coming here today. But obviously, like I said, it's a bit different for me today, and I'm quite looking forward to it. It's going to be good fun. Some of these fish getting up for a good size, aren't they? Roach up to £2.
I've had roach up to £2. There's a lot of roach around the pound mark. There's hybrids to £3.
Yeah.
There's a few good perch. Yeah. Lots of small skimmers, and obviously there's a lot of big bream as well, up to £4 or £5.
Dustbin lids. I can't wait for this. Hopefully we'll get into some. So first and foremost, then let's go through. This is we're mixing my ground bait here today, but it's exactly as you do it, isn't it? So
the exact same mix.
So we're literally using a bag, but because I've got some left over from the other day, I'm going to use a bag in a bit, basically. So nice and simple, straight really. So whether you do this before or whether you're new to Revolution Baits or whatever, most ground bait mixes is the same. Just a dry mix in this case, just straight into the bucket. Make sure you take your rubbish home with you, really important. Look after the environment. We tell that to kids all the time, don't we? Okay. We both do a lot of coaching with kids, which is always good to pass it on to the next generation. So in it goes, full bag and a bit, in my case today, of this fantastic Skimmer and Bream Dark. So as you can see there straight away, it's just, I mean, straight out the bag, this is such a light, I found this with all the stuff in the range, haven't you, as well?
It's not very, it's very light, and it's very,
it's
easy to work with as well.
It's just dead, it's dead fine, isn't it, as well? There's some lovely flex in it as well.
It's not too overly fish meal. It's got fish meal in it, but it's quite sweet as well at the same time.
Yeah, exactly, and obviously with all our products at Revolution, smells good. It's absolutely packed full of the aminos and the attractants as well that we have in everything that we use. And Emma and James do such a great job, don't they, with some of this stuff.
Okay. Water next.
So in it goes. I must stress, you can't take it out once you put it in. So make sure you just add a bit at a time. Give it a good mix round. Now you can use a drill for this as well, which is fine. I'll tell you what I do like about this as well is I did this in a film just a couple of days ago, and it just gets darker, doesn't it? With the more the more water that you add.
It takes quite a lot of water as well.
Yeah.
I think that's just down to the quality ingredients in it.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is the thing, the base products, if the base products are good, then it all works. You can just see that nicely in there. We're struggling a little bit with noise and light today. We've got a really busy road behind us, and the sun keeps going in. So even now, I mean, I'm going to add a bit more to that, but you can see straight away now it's starting to ball up quite nicely already. But obviously, as you leave it to sit and to rest, it will absorb that water. So I imagine you're going to go for quite a, well, to be fair, we're fishing on the bottom, so it's going to be a heavier mix anyway.
We'll add, like I say, on here, we'll add quite a bit more water than what you'd expect to use, just to make it quite sticky, so you get got quite a few particles in your initial feed.
Yeah.
Without it breaking up too quick.
So what we're going to do is we're going to let this just absorb a little bit. We're going to come back, give it a riddle, and then we're going to pop some particles in there, and we'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, so we'll let it rest for just a few minutes now, and you can already see the difference really. It just starts to absorb the water a little bit more, and that squelchiness has kind of gone. Instead, it just becomes a nice, firm, solid ball, and you can just, again, the weight is still there, but you can just feel that it binds together really well. But equally, just look at that. Look how that crumbles down. And again, that's before it's even riddled. So again, just a great testament of the quality of the product. Okay, so riddling groundbait, dead simple job. We've got quite a bit today, so we'll probably do it in 2 halves. On it goes. Right, just make sure we hold it down, just give it a nice good shake. Let's just move that to one side a bit. There we go. Put a bit too much in.
Yeah, it's troubling too.
So the wetter your groundbait mix, the less you put on the riddle, generally speaking. Unless you're kind of cheating a bit like I am today. Sorry, we can cut this down.
I just push them bigger particles so they're just a little bit wetter than the rest of the ground bite.
Just needs a few more minutes to rest normally, but obviously for filming today, we're quite keen to get going, and I want to get into these fish. So with some, you end up with these little lumps, which are quite hard lumps. Some people get rid of them, some people put them in. Personal preference really. Now we've got other particles going in today, so for me, I'll get rid of them. So as you can see from riddling now, it's really nice and fluffy, absolutely fine. You can see that it just squeezes together really, really nicely in your hand. No problems at all. Still breaks up lovely. So we're going to be adding some particles, aren't we now, Jason?
Yes,
yeah. What we're going to start with first?
What I'll do is I'll split that mix in half now. So
Right.
I won't ram loads of particles in all of it. Split it in half, so you've got some for your initial feed, and you've got a little bit for topping up with later on if need be. That's perfect.
How about half?
That's fine, that's fine. Enough for about 4 or 5 decent balls of ground bite.
Yeah, so we'll put that to one side. Right, come on then. So what are we having first?
Start off with, what we'll do, we'll feed 3 or 4 balls of ground bite on our main line, on our main longer line, and we'll feed 1 ball on our shorter line, but we'll have plenty of particles in them.
Yep.
So we're going to add some casters.
Yep.
A few casters there, and try and drain some of the water off them. Not too many, but just probably a reasonable sort of
a handful.
Handful there.
Yeah.
Sprinkle them in.
Fabulous.
Same with some dead maggots.
There you go, matey. So these are dead reds for
just
any
dead
of
reds,
you.
yeah. About the same amount.
Let me just come over here a little bit so you can see.
Yeah.
If you bring your hand this way.
Yeah.
There you go.
About the same.
Perfect. And they go. Fabulous. And we've got
some corn.
A bit of corn.
Bit of corn, because that seems to work for these bigger fish, but not too much.
Yeah, you don't want it to be too overpowering.
Only what's probably 30 or 40 grains of corn.
Yep.
Sprinkle them in.
Happy days.
And then we're going to put a tiny bit of chopped worm in.
A little bit of worm, so we've got
the same amount as what I did with them.
If you do pop it,
casters, just
pop it in there and I'll chop it. So we're doing this, we're not washing them off first. We're just keeping them as they are.
Not too much on there, they're quite clean. And then just chop them.
I'm just going to mention it actually while I'm here now. So these brand new scissors from MAP, newly launched actually, they're absolutely fantastic. Twin blades, they're really, really sharp. I'm just going to drop that product in there. Absolutely fantastic for this. Nice and simple.
Nice gap between the blades, because some of them are too close and they just clog up.
Yeah, exactly. It just means it doesn't get too bad. How much are we chopping them up, mate? Are we?
Not too much.
Not much.
Just to like probably quarter to half-inch pieces.
That's about right.
Give them a little bit more. Yeah.
More?
Yeah, a little bit more. That'll probably be fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Am I going there, are we? You can see that. I'll just hold that for you. So that's just about perfect.
Yeah,
isn't it? Something for
a good stamp of silverfish, so we don't want.
Yeah,
they don't need tiny little bits of worm.
Little pieces like that, which is absolutely perfect. So we got them in as well. Like I said, peat and all, not an issue. And then we give it a mix round.
Give it a good mix.
Proper proper bream ground bait.
That's it.
So when you're doing this, when you put things like casters in, it's just important that you fan your fingers out a little bit. What you don't want to do is pop everything. As you're mixing it round, you end up with
crunching sometimes.
Yeah, you just make sure you do it with your fingers really wide as you go through, just like that. It just stops you from pop in all your casters. Just a little tip for you there. There we go. So if we look at that now, you can see, if I just make a little ball like that, it's just that nice.
Yeah, it's not.
It's like 10%, 15%, isn't it, of what you need, which is absolutely perfect for what we're looking for. So apparently that is the magic mix.
That's the magic mix.
So we're starting now. 3 or 4 balls on one line.
4 balls on your long line, 1 ball on the shorter line. And
there we go.
Start loose feeding casters over it.
And we'll see how it goes.
See how it goes. Just rotate up baits.
Rotate up baits, he says. We'll see.
Try maggot to start with. If you're getting pestered by little fish, then we might switch to caster. Yeah. Bit of worm or even corn on the up, just to try and select bigger fish.
I'm a sucker for a bit of worm, mate. Yeah. I always start with a bit of worm. Usually is the case when I'm fishing for bream, at least anyway. So there we go. Again, fantastic products. Really, really good way. Let's obviously see if we can put some of this into practice. Okay then, you lovely lot. So we've been fishing away here a little bit at the brilliant Baden Hall Fisheries, using our fantastic Bream Dark Revolution ground bait. It's absolutely superb, I've got to say. I'm so impressed with the way that it's performed. So we've just had a bit of a play really, and it's been absolutely, not completely solid with silver fish, but there's plenty of bites to be had, which is absolutely amazing. Had some lovely fish, some big bream as well, which we'll show you at the end of the video. But we've just been fishing short, got 1 short line, 1 long line. We're both doing the same, to be fair, and you know, both just fishing top 5 really, top 5, just at the bottom of that shelf, and then exactly the same on the other side. As it goes up the shelf in the far bank, it's absolutely riddled with snags. And then we've just been rotating up baits, basically, just to see what we get on. So that we'll get on with a bit more fishing rather than me waffling to you all the time. Just always wet your elastic, so important that. Good habits all the time, teach it all the time in the coaching that we do. So picking that marker on the far bank, letting that bait, that rig, just got to let it settle in the right place. So I'm just fishing the strung out bulk at the bottom, slightly tapered. And once it gets down to there, nicely dotted down float, because the bites are pretty sensitive. So at the moment I'm on double red maggot. It seems to have caught me quite well today so far. I know that Jace, you've been swapping up baits a bit, haven't you, today? Jace, you've been swapping up baits today a bit, haven't you?
I'm swapping up baits and rotating between caster, maggot. I've tried corn. I've had a couple of fish on corn, but I'm getting bites on caster, but I think a lot of them are little perch at the moment. Maggot seems to be the best hook bait. So far, anyway.
And that's been the only downside, I'd say, today, isn't it, is the perch. There's a lot of small perch in here. And fishing natural baits over the ground bait that we are today, it just becomes a little bit of a nuisance in some ways, but at the same point, you know, as long as you're patient, you see those fish start to feed, don't they, mate?
Yeah, little perch.
There we go, look, as a prime example, perch, there you, just what I said. Oh, look at that, big lift bite. There we go. these skimmers seem to be like the main kind of, these seem to be the average size really of what we've had today. 2 to a pound, which is quite good. So again, another thing there, another tip for you, make sure you just get rid of all that slime on the line. You don't want any of that on there. It means that they can see it. We've just got to be a bit careful with that. Fresh up bait. Into another skimmer there, matey, well done.
Yeah.
He's going to hold this one up for you.
There you go. There's loads of them like that.
Just say about average stamp, aren't they?
Yeah.
So, Jason, since you put that back, mate, just talk us through what you're doing, mate.
Right then, okay, at the moment, I've fed my 2 lines. I've fed at 5 metres, I've fed at 10 metres, 10 and a half, 11 metres. At the moment, the shorter line where I've just fed 1 ball of ground bait and I'm just loose feeding casters over it has been the better of the 2 lines. Just for catching on 0.4 rig, just lifting and dropping, laying the caster through the water, but no real pattern to it at the moment. One put in, you'll get a little perch, and then you'll catch a decent skimmer. The next put in, so it's like, it's good fishing.
There we are, so we're into a bigger fish now. It's what we're talking about with stamping some of these fish. So it's that skimmer just of that weight, and then we get a fish like this on, which, you know, you can't complain at that whatsoever. Such a lovely, lovely fish. And we're just splitting the fish a little bit in these nets today. We've got small ones, under a pound in one net, just so they don't get squished, and then those bigger bream, and we're picking them up on, putting them on the other net. So just keeps things nice and safe, because, you know, fish safety, fish welfare is an absolute must. We're going to make sure we do that all the time. So same again for me, double red maggot seems to be the bait. I'm not going to top it up yet. I'm going to see what the next fish is. But as you can see, it's a bite of chuck between the 2 of us. It's such fantastic fishing here, Jason, isn't it?
It really is. I mean, even these smaller skimmers, it's great sport with these. And then, you know, if them bigger ones rock up, then it's just awesome. You can have a right day's fishing.
That's absolutely brilliant, and it's just dead important to mention as well the importance of balanced tackle, and just making sure that everything is, you know, we've talked about the rigs and stuff like that. It's making sure everything is nicely balanced, so you've got every chance of landing these fish, because, you know, skimmers can be a little bit of a pain at times in terms of coming off, but these nice soft elastics that we're using are absolutely perfect for it. Now for me, because I've had another one of those, all I'm going to do is just loose feed a few casters. I'm not going to put another ball in yet, in my case. And I think what we'll do is we'll spin the camera around so you can see a little bit from the other side. And there we go. Okay, so I can actually, I've moved the camera around the other side, so now when I'm talking to Jason, I can actually see him rather than having my back to everything. Do you miss a bite then, mate?
I missed a bite then, but you didn't film me pull out of one before that, did you?
Yeah, we're still
you
running.
You probably did.
We'll do a bloopers reel, mate, don't worry.
I didn't swear.
It's the pressure of the cameras, that's what it is.
The shorter line is definitely a lot better than that long line at the moment.
Yeah, I think I probably pulled in front of you a little bit earlier, didn't I? So for you guys at home, I've had to get on and off the box a lot today, and there was probably about maybe 45 minutes
Yeah, you've been...
Where I was just literally catching fish one after the other, and I had a really, really good, productive kind of 45 minutes, which was great. But I've been up and down a little bit since then, which obviously disturbs the fishing. Just when we're, you know, with the filming, it takes a little bit of time to get everything sorted. We're into another half decent bream here. Yeah, lovely fish. So again, those good habits, I've got to say it all the time, just get the slime off your line. It even rhymes, get the slime off your line. I think we have to give a few shout outs actually today. So first and foremost to the owners of this brilliant place for letting us come and not only fish but film here today, which has been absolutely brilliant. And a special thank you as well to Gaz, who's put a lot of work in on this fishery, and it's really nice of him to help us get organised for today, which is fantastic. And we're looking forward to coming to do some other things here. We're going to do some more, but we'll give you a bit more about that later on. But at the moment, we need to try and catch some fish, because he's just had another one. Was that another then, mate?
No, I had a little fish come off.
Oh, okay.
Just switching over. I got that rig with a bulk and a couple of droppers, and just switching over to my spread bulk rig. Seems to be like, bites are very tiny, aren't they? Just little dinks.
Yeah, it's been like fishing for F1s, isn't it?
Yeah. And I think I'm missing a few bites and missing out on a few fish with that not so good presentation off that heavier rig.
I think the difference as well is when you've got the bulk and two droppers, I mean, the advantage obviously is that you've got that slow fall in the last, you know, 15, 16 inches of the rig, and the fish really do follow it down. But the downside of that is the bite indication is not as positive, is it, at all?
No.
So like I said to you lot at the start, it's so important that I'm not concentrating now, I keep missing bites. It's so important that you stick on a new water to things that you know, and then try and figure it out from there. So I've had the strung out bulk on line, tapered shot, just the same as to set my rigs up for like, you know, normal F1 fishing on commercials. And actually, as it happens today, especially with the wind as well, because that affects the presentation of the rig, it's definitely been the best way to see the bites clearly today. They've been quite positive when they do come. Just like that, little dink. Although this is a very small perch, I think. Oh no, it's a roach. So we've had perch, roach, eyed, a bream, and we've had some little F1s as well. Multiple species day, which is lovely. So what was I doing? I was thanking people, wasn't I? That was it. So yeah, I was talking about Gaz. It's a lot of working on this fishery, and we've just been able to talk to the owners, which was really nice. And you know, talk about some of the future plans, and we're going to be coming down again and doing some other bits here for some other things, which is going to be good fun. Because I've absolutely loved it. It's just been, look, one after the other. It's just solid with silvers. And I've also got to mention the boss as well. Or the two bosses, really. Emma Pickering, the one and only Emma Pickering, and James Moore for what they do for Revolution Baits, because this ground bait that we're on today is absolutely superb. Absolutely superb. I just can't fault it, like, at all. Of course, the downside of us being here, Gaz. The downside of us being here, Jason.
Yeah.
It's when everyone else sees how good it is here. They're all going to want to come.
They am. I mean, I've sent quite a few people friend requests on their Facebook page, and I think look, judging by the open, I got an open Sunday. A couple of weeks ago, I was only getting 7, 8, 9 on the opens, and now I think he said he's got 16 on it this week.
Yeah.
So there's only a couple of spare pegs before it's sold out.
It soon builds up, doesn't it, when a place gets a reputation?
I think people see these weights on Facebook and they don't believe it's real. When they see £100 of silvers, they're going to be a bit sceptical and think, nah, that ain't true.
Yeah, but then you see the size of some of these bream that we've been having.
Yeah.
They're just great fish to catch, aren't they? I'm not going to weigh the fish individually today, but I've got one of the bream I've had today. It's probably the biggest I've ever caught. It's probably a PB. It's just a really nice fishery, plain and simple. And it's got so much potential. The only weird thing for me is the tape that goes across each peg, but whether that's to do with keeping people in the pegs or whether it's to do with stopping, cormorants and stuff like that landing, I don't know. But that's a bit weird. What come out in the net? I like it when that happens. And to skim it, snotted up my line everywhere. I'll take this opportunity to feed it again, I think. So another factor today has been the wind. Now, there's a few trees that shelter this place, which is quite nice, and that'll only get better as the venue continues to mature, I think. But for those of you who are looking at, pole anglers, a bit like we are today, you don't need to be all the way across today, and to be fair, you won't be able to hold it, because it does get quite windy. And we're just at the edge of the breeze today, to be fair. I think if you're in the teeth of it down there, it'd be very difficult fishing today. You'd struggle to present your bait properly. So it's just worth thinking about that when you're fishing. When you're reading the day and the conditions, think about water movement. How is it going to affect the presentation of my bait? Can I present the rig in the way I want it to fish? And if you can't, you need to think about making a change, doing something so that you can present your rig. And like we've said today, the shorter line's been far more productive, I think, today. And some of that will be presentation as well, when the wind's been strong. I reckon I've spent more time cleaning my rig today than doing anything else. Decent one, matey.
A bit bigger. Bit of fight in him, that one.
Must be a bit warmer than the others. So as well as bits and bobs today, I should also thank Jason, because obviously he's the person that's been fishing matches on here, that's been having stupid amounts of weight. You know, he's honed his methods, he's honed his rigs, he's honed his mix, you know, his ground bait mix. I've got a lot to do with the success that we're having today. So fair play, mate. What's that journey been like in terms of the match fishing?
On this venue alone, or?
Yeah.
The first couple of times I've come, I think I had £20 the first match. Second match I come, I had like 30 odd pound. And I went away thinking, I'm not doing this quite right. I was trying to copy what the locals was doing, and some of them, all they do is just bring micro pellets and corn. And I'm thinking, it's not right, I'm missing out on other fish. And the last 2 matches I've turned up, I've just brought the Revolution baits, bream and skimmer and bream dark, and casters and maggots and that, and I've had 2 of the best days silver fishing I've ever had, on £70 and £106, and just think that there's that many other fish in here other than the bream to catch that you can't afford to miss out on them, really.
And it's so important in it as well. It's that you literally said then you try and copy the locals. I think it's just important to say, for those of you who are possibly new to fishing or thinking about going into match fishing, pick one venue to start with, see what the locals are doing, and use that as your starting point. I mean, that's dead important, isn't it, that, Jace?
Dead important, yeah. If you're going to go from venue to venue, you might learn eventually, but it's going to take a lot longer. Yeah.
So generally, you master a venue, and actually our camera operator, Dav, we've gone through this, haven't we? So he's obviously sat there doing an amazing job today, as always, to master a venue to start with, and then start to move on to more difficult venues. And as you move up the tree into bigger opens, obviously you're fishing alongside much better anglers, and just like Jason was explaining in that process then, when you've been fishing for a while or match fishing for quite some time, your starting point is still the same as everybody else, even if you're new. But your experience then helps you to make changes to maximise what you can out of the peg, isn't it? That's right.
Just don't get disheartened if the first few visits you go somewhere new that you get beat up, you get by all the locals, but eventually, just sticking at one place, you'll get used to it. And
yeah, exactly. And then, like, as you move up towards the bigger venues, you're starting to learn those tricks from, you know, some of the country's best anglers, and it just helps you more and more, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The biggest thing for me is ask questions.
Don't be afraid to ask questions.
Yeah, and for most people, certainly most that I've come across, I've never got a problem answering your questions. Too busy talking here. They'll always answer your questions. How did you catch this? Did you do that? Why did you make that change? You know, these are the kind of questions that you need to ask. Speak to the people that are winning matches or framing matches. In some cases, speak to fishery owners. They know, maybe not so much on here, but, you know, some of the other places that are dotted around everywhere, the fishery owners will know exactly what the kind of methods and good areas that will work on their fisheries. And keep an eye on the match results, you know, as well. And don't be disheartened. I think another one is draw. You know, you look at the results, you do your homework, you've done all the things I've just talked about, and you know that, let's say, for example, a certain, it might be between 50 and 30 are the best pegs. And then you go and draw in the 20s, and you sit there and thinking, oh, for God's sake, that's it, game over, I might as well go home. And that's not always the case, is it? If you can use your experience, you can maximise the chances on that.
Try to make the most of where you've drew, what peg you're on, what you're doing for that day.
Exactly that. And I did it last week. I dropped on a match last week, drew an absolutely awful peg. It's a venue that I know reasonably well. And I thought, oh, for God's sake. They said, oh, for God's sake. As soon as I drew it out, I thought, I'm not going to win on here. And I ended up winning the match with about £14, £12, £14 clear. Doing nothing different to what we're doing today. Finding your way in, maximising your chances. That's just what you got to do, innit, mate? So just a little mention about rigs today. So again, it's a venue that I've never been before, and it is a snake lake. So even though I've had loads of information from Jason, I tend to stick with what I know, really. So in terms of silverfish for me, I use the MAP Optimum main line in 015 for silvers, and hook length that goes right down to, I carry both 011, exactly the same line again, and also 013. So today I've actually started, because some of the fish go up to a bigger stamp, I've gone to 013. Summertime, it shouldn't be an issue. And then I start on a size 18, moving up to a 16 if I need to. In terms of shotting, this is a point, it's 4x14 float, so about 0.4 of a gram, and it's a Malman float, which is absolutely brilliant, 1.5mm tip, and it just means that, again, this time of year with this kind of fishing, it should be fine. If it was winter, I'd use a finer float, if you like. I've gone with a carbon stem today. I know that Jason's gone with, he's got carbon and steel on his, so a little bit of difference between the two will be interesting, but I want carbon just so that I've got that fall through the water should that option present itself today. I've just got exactly the same patterns again in steel stems as well, so I can change it if I need to. And it's the same with the shotting as well. So again, at the moment I've strung out the number 9s the way I would normally do for this kind of a rig for a commercial fishery. It might be that I end up just doing a bulk a bit further up and 2 droppers, with it being silvers and bream, but again, the fish that'll dictate how it goes with there. At least with this at the moment, it's going to get straight down to the bottom. It's nice and positive, and it shouldn't be too much of an issue. So starting off with what I know, it's dead important. When you go to a new venue, start with things that you've already got faith in. You can alter it from there and change it as you want. And just the last mention actually is the elastic. So in this one today, it's the MAP TKS hybrid, and I've got it in 6 to 8. Which is just, again, lovely, nice and soft. It just means that it powers up when you want it, and obviously it's on a puller kit as well, so if we get into some of those bigger fish today, it'll still be a bit of fun, but I'll still be able to retain control, because bream, even big bream, they don't fight too hard anyway, so that should be fine. So that's basically the rigs today. The only change I've made in this other one, like I said, I've got a couple of options available to me today. But in terms of what I've set up ready is a duplicate rig, exactly the same. I've just got this on a tougher elastic, so if we do get to the point where it's going to be a bit of a struggle, or we're not getting the fish out, then obviously I can make that change if I need to today. But other than that, there we go. Stick to what you know. Let's go and have a look at Jason's rigs and see the differences.
Okay, rigs for the day. I've basically got two rigs, pretty much the same float. I've got, one's a 0.4, which I've gone for a wire stem float today because we've got a little bit of ripple on the water, a bit of breeze pushing down. Just with a wire stem will give it a little bit more stability in this wind. Basically, the rigs are the same, the floats are the same, the elastic's the same. Just I've got 2 different shotting patterns. I've got a 0.4, which has got a bulk of about 8 or 9 number 11 shot there on my bulk, and then I've got 3 number 12 droppers. The bulk's probably 18 inches from the hook, and the 6-inch hook length, and then the 3 droppers are spread evenly between the hook length knot and the bulk. That's just my main rig. That'll probably be the rig I'll start on. A bit more positive. I've got a slightly lighter float, exactly the same float pattern, but a 0.3, and this one's same elastic, like I said, same line, and it's got a tapered shotting pattern, starting from around about the same area as that boat, about 18 inches from the hook. I've got the first 6 or 7 shot of they're about half an inch apart, and then the last 3 or 4 droppers are getting slightly further away as you go towards the hook. And on both rigs, I've got a 6-inch hook length, 0.10 hook length of with a 18 Guru F1 maggot hook. Main line on both of these rigs is 0.13. I've also got a heavier rig set up in case there's some bream about, which is basically a carbon stem float, 0.3 of a float. It's done an 0.13 main line, but it got an 0.12 hook length. I've got a small bulk and 3 or 4 droppers on that rig. That's more so if there's some bigger bream about.
How long have we got left, Dom?
2 minutes, 3 minutes, mate.
Half speed.
You want to?
Actually gone quiet.
You literally, yeah, 3 minutes. I've got to try and find an all-out hooter on the phone.
I wouldn't bother.
Hey?
I wouldn't bother. Think I was just going to go back straight away?
Yeah.
Tell him now.
Yeah. We'll give you a minute of playing time if you want one. You're not getting 15 minutes playing time, Ad.
Yeah.
You're not.
Why's that?
Not for a skimmer.
Yeah, the skimmers and then there's some of the things that are in here.
Yeah, I'd laugh at you, but they say hook one of them big carp on your 6 to 8 elastic. Well, they can't. That'd be great. When a bunch of both you literally netting the same fish at the same time almost.
Same sort of size.
The same size, yeah, could have identical almost. You might sneak one more in the last minute. You get back out and don't tangle yourself. Oh, he's back in quicker than you. You've gone long. Oh.
He's got time for one more, I've got time for two.
Not long, you haven't.
That's how quick this one out now.
It is. It's going to have to be quick. Oh, he beat you to it. Ah, it's a bird.
It's a bird.
Wait. Oh, oh.
Oh, good. Time anyway, that's it.
That's the all out. That will be the all out now, yeah. Boom.
Oh, fish on, finally. I've got 15 minutes.
No, you haven't got 15 minutes.
Stretch my legs, put my feet up. Look at this.
It's the biggest one of the day. I can't believe you've done that. Look at that. Give me
I've got time for one more.
You'll have to hold that up, that last one. That's brilliant.
Down to the wire. At the all out.
You get it by £2 now, you'll be.
Yeah, buddy, there, that's it.
Friendship started and over in the same day. So there we go. To sum it up, we've had an absolute ruck of silverfish. The sport here at Baden Hall Fisheries is absolutely fantastic. I've not had a silvers day like that for I can't even remember. It's been so long. Before commercial fisheries, about certainly before I was family bound and all that kind of stuff.
So you catch £50.
Yeah,
but we've got silvers.
It's just amazing. So you're dying to know, and it's been so close. We've been pretty much neck and neck all day. So we've had just under 54 and just over 54 pounds. So 53.8 I think it was, and 54 something.
54.8. I think
54.8. Yeah. So there's about a pound in it, literally. You know, some of those good bream. It's been really close. They could have swayed it either way, especially with that last one that I had at the end.
The £2.
Yeah, right on the all out. So we weren't really aiming for a bit of a head-to-head today, but we're both competitive match anglers, and we've had a bit of a giggle today, which is great. The biggest thing for me, I think, has been not just the fantastic fishery, but obviously how well that ground bait works from Evolution Baits.
It works. Skimmers absolutely love that stuff.
Yeah, it's just noticeable, isn't it, as well? And you'll see you've seen in the footage that the difference is when you feed again, and then it brings in a few more fish.
Every time you fed a little bit of ground bait, you went in and more or less guarantee your next bite would be one of them bit of bream or.
Yeah, and it's like proper bream fishing for me. So you're not refilling with a kinder pot. It's like a full pot, and then it goes. Dunking in pot or two even.
Yeah, you can attack it 4 or 5 balls to start with, and top up with a big ball of ground bait instead of.
I think the difference is for me, to sum up, really has been that's kept fish coming for me. So I've been on, not that you haven't, but I've been on the box, on and off the box quite a lot today with the commotion of filming and stuff like that. So to re-attract the fishing to build the swim again for me has been quite an interesting learning curve, I think, today. So sometimes I've repotted ground bait in the mix that we've done, and I've done it balled up like we did at the start. Sometimes I've done it loose, and sometimes I've done a smaller ball with a bit of loose on the top, so we've had a bit of a mixture.
Try and vary it.
Completely, varying it.
And you get from.
It's made a massive difference. And in my last mix, because I was getting a lot of perch, wasn't I? I took the worm out of the last mix, and I only had 1 perch, which was on double maggot in that last hour or so. So again, there, just in the 3.5, 4 hours maybe we fished today, just about. You can see the differences already, can't you, straight away, just in the way that what you add to your ground bait, whether it be Revolution products or whether it be natural baits in with the Revolution Baits products. It's just, the variant is massive. I also tried a little bit of the bream liquid enhancer as well today, and give that a sprinkle in the second mix. So all 3 of my mixes were slightly different, actually, so they were the changes for me, really. I think you probably kept similar.
I've kept my mix, the same mix throughout. I've topped up I've topped up with a fairly firm ball, but with not as much particles in as the initial feed. And so it worked to an extent, but the longer line what I fed didn't seem to be as good today as it can be. But the short line was
and there's been loads of like chopping and changing. I've been on and off that. I left that long line, didn't I, for a lot of that time, and I went on it for a little bit early on. Stamper fish just weren't big enough, and it was windy as well, so obviously I came back on the short line. Like you said, it was solid, wasn't it? Absolutely great. It's just the perch was a bit of a shame for me, but I had quite a few perch as well earlier. I think that was down to the amount of worm we fed, but on another day, then bigger bream are in your peg. So we mopped that up before the perch. And we were saying this, weren't we? So obviously you said there's a lot of these in here. You've done some massive weights on here as a match angler, and well done to you, because obviously I've seen how hard work it can be today. It's not exactly been easy fishing at times.
I'd say, considering we both had £50, it hasn't been easy. We've had to chop and change, we've had to adjust shotting patterns,
loads of different things,
things just to keep.
And you've used all of the top kits that you had out as well, haven't you, today? And you even went shallow at one point. I had fish swirling at one point for my loose fed casters, and I had a bream. I'll hold the rig up, so I thought, so I've shallowed the rig up, but it wasn't the answer. I had a few little fish doing it, but it wasn't the answer today. You just been pinging casters, haven't you? Or I avoided that a little bit. I did it a few times, and then I left it.
You've not loose fed half as much as what I have you?
No, short line I have. I've trickled them in short line, but not on a long line. I just, with the wind as well, that's not helped. We're also off the back of a few days of rain. It's a bit cooler today. The water temperature is obviously down a little bit, and that might explain why not as many as the big bream fed as what they sometimes do in the recent weeks you've been here. But nonetheless, an absolutely amazing day. Listen, matey, it's been an absolute pleasure to get to know you. I know we're going to be back again. Definitely. And I'll make sure I definitely win next time, because obviously he's been here before and I haven't, so it was close. Yeah, we'll definitely be down here again. We're looking at Revolutions baits first, which will be a bit of a head-to-head. We've got that in the pipeline. We've discussed that today, and we'll be down here again, revisiting the venue for a live match. I'm going to film, or you'll film. You guys will film me in a live match here with a bit of pressure. So that'll be good. Hopefully he's not on it, and if he is, he draws in the corner over there, which tells me is really bad. So, but no, I'm joking. I'm joking. Yeah, so there's a few more things coming up for you, as usual. Please stay tuned with everything that you see this on. It's on the Revolutions Bait channel, it's on my channel, ASFishingTV, and obviously please have a look on the Revolutions Baits website. Okay, I'll put a link up now. Smile, ready? Like that. Okay, so there'll be a magic link up here. Make sure you have a look at the products on the website. We don't say what they're like just because that's what we do. They are genuinely a fantastic bait to use. You know, 55, 56 pound of silvers. That doesn't happen many places at all. So credit to the fishery, credit to Revolution Baits and the products. Again, massive thank you to the staff here that have let us film today. It's been an absolute treat. I've loved it. I'm absolutely covered in slime, to be fair, but it's been an absolute treat, and I can't wait to be back here again. My name's Adam Shilton. This has been Jason Cunningham. We are from Revolution Baits, and we'll see you guys on the bank very, very soon.